Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, we have another pistol video for you here today, and this is one we've been getting a lot of requests for. So, there continues to be a really fierce amount of competition in the micro-compact handgun market. We know that. And Springfield Armory has secured itself a pretty good place with a variety of different Hellcat models. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at their newest offering, the Hellcat Pro. It's an optics-ready, 15+1 capacity 9mm carry pistol. Springfield claims that the Hellcat Pro has no equal. But we're going to put that to the test in just a minute. Alright, once again, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, or if you've been watching our videos and just haven't had a chance to do so, and you like our content, please consider subscribing. You can locate that little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your computer screen there, or if you're on a mobile device, you can scroll down below the video and subscribe that way. It's a simple thing that helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it. So, the Hellcat Pro. Been waiting to get a hold of one of these so we can talk about this for you today. You know, this is one of those things that the original Hellcat, of course, was immensely popular. And the idea of getting a even higher capacity micro-compact handgun like this has got a lot of people's attention. So we're going to do like we always do and kind of start off with a couple of comparisons. Now, the first thing I want to show you is going to be a little on the extreme as far as size. But, you know, traditionally, if you've been in the concealed carry market for a long time, a 15-round 9mm pistol to you might have been the Glock 19. You know, very tried and true handgun. And you can see there's a immense size difference between a Glock 19 and the Hellcat. Now, I know that's not a completely fair comparison because the advances that they've made with these micro compacts versus a compact handgun, but it's worth noting just how much these things have changed over time. Now, of course, the Glock 19 is a great handgun. I still trust it. I would still carry one any day of the week. But the fact that it's so much thinner and so much lighter, you know, is something to be considered. You know, even among other Hellcat models. You know, I've got my little Hellcat RDP here. You know, and even with an optic and a compensator on the handgun, the Hellcat Pro is not really going to be that much bigger of a handgun to carry. And of course, since you don't have to worry about the optic, as far as your, you know, holster selection, managing that, it's going to be a little bit easier. You'll have a few more holster options with something like this. But the other thing I want to show you, because it's going to come up a little bit later, is the Glock 43X. And I know that some people may be thinking that, you know, this isn't a good comparison at all, because the Hellcat Pro, of course, is a 15-round 9mm pistol. And, of course, your Glock 43X is only a 10-round single stack. But we're going to come back to that a little bit later. But as far as size, I think I like to use this size comparison just a little bit more, because out of everything, the 43X is a lot closer as far as the width. There's a lot of things about these two handguns as far as their overall dimension that are a lot closer. So if you have the 43X, or if you've carried it and you're comfortable with the size and weight of this, then the Hellcat Pro is not going to be that much different as far as how it feels. So as you can see, they're very, very close in size, and you can see that for 15 rounds, they've got that in a pretty small platform. Alright, we're going to jump into the features here, but before we do, of course, we want to take a moment to thank our friends over at Don's Weaponry for providing us this beautiful example of the Hellcat Pro for our tabletop review today. Don's Weaponry is a huge supporter of firearms safety and education, and we just can't thank them enough for their support. A quick announcement to our Central Arkansas viewers. If you're considering the Hellcat Pro, but you'd like to experience shooting it first, you know, Don's Weaponry is putting on a special Hit the Range event just for you. April 8th and 9th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The first 50 shooters on the range will receive some free goodies, t-shirt, target, sticker in a koozie along with like 5 rounds of ammo so you can take some shots. There'll be representatives on site to answer any questions. You know, sounds like a good time. You can take a few shots and see how it feels and decide for yourself. Of course, when we're talking about the features, I always like to begin with the top and kind of work my way down. This will be no exception. The first thing you'll notice, of course, is you've got your plate here at the top because this is an optics-ready pistol. It comes prepared to accept small red dots like the RMSC and of course the Hex Wasp, which they make, and I'm sure there will be others down the road. Now the sights that come with it are actually not too bad. You've got this tritium and high visibility ring on the front sight, and you've got this U channel. Now for almost all lighting conditions, this shows up really well. You can really acquire that front sight in a hurry for follow-up shots. Of course, if it's pitch black, that's not a glow sight on the rear, so you won't be able to see it. But if it's pitch black, I doubt I'm going to be taking a shot anyway. So there's that. If you look at this here, the slide, you've got your front and your rear serrations. They are pretty pronounced, so gloves or bare hands, either one will work pretty good. Let me go ahead and drop our magazine. Of course, these are 15-round magazines, and you do get 2 of them, which is kind of nice. Magazines are expensive, so anytime they give me something extra, I'm always happy about it. Let's lock the slide to the rear for a couple of things here. First of all, the barrel. You know, they've improved on a little bit on the size, which is what helps a lot with the manageability of this firearm. You know, the original Hellcat has a 3-inch barrel. This has a 3.7-inch barrel, and of course it's a hammer forged barrel, and both the barrel and the slide have got that melanite finish. You know, along with lengthening the barrel, you know, they lengthen the frame just a little bit. And if you feel, you know, the Hellcat Pro and compare it to the regular Hellcat, you can tell that you have a, you know, bigger grip frame feel, you know, in your hand. So to me, this feels like a larger handgun than it is, just because of the way they've got this grip. Now, while we've got the slide back, this is your takedown lever. If you're going to disassemble the firearm, you're going to go ahead and rotate that upward like that, and then you'll unlock your slide, and then all you have to do is just push the whole works forward just like that. And of course, once you have it apart, you can take out your spring and your rod, and then you can tip your barrel out and do what you would normally do as far as cleaning and reassemble the firearm, which all you have to do is just bring it back, and then you will rotate that lever back down. So very easy process there to get in there and do the basic cleaning. Of course, you've got your accessory rail here for lights, lasers. If you like to do that with your handgun, this will accept that. The pretty decent sized trigger guard here, which I like because I have bigger fingers and I like to be able to get in there pretty easy without having to hunt and peck for that hole. The trigger. I like the trigger on this firearm. We'll get into more on that when we talk about the range, but the trigger feels really nice. It's very consistent. You've got your magazine release here. It is pretty easy to get to. It's in a pretty natural location, and it is reversible. Okay, now it's the only control that is, but you know, at least you can reverse that one if you'd like to do so. You have what they call the adaptive finish here on the grip, which is pretty nice. But you know, you look the whole thing over, and it has the feel, once again, of a larger firearm while still being pretty compact. So it's a pretty impressive set of features on a handgun that doesn't take up a whole lot of space in the holster. So when we talk about the range, this is a point where we probably want to compare the original Hellcat to the Hellcat Pro, because it's those changes, I think, that make this thing such a good shooting handgun. And let me explain to you what I mean. So as far as the basics, so let me take this magazine back out and let you see that we are clear and safe. And in doing so, I want you to check out the trigger first, because I mentioned how good it is. I think it's a good, consistent trigger. You get your trigger safety there. You got a little bit of take up, and then the pressure starts, and it's a good, steady pull. Okay, reset the trigger. You can see it's got a reasonable reset. It's not the shortest one I've ever seen, but it's pretty good. Very consistent. Reset and back. It's one of the more consistent triggers I've seen on a handgun like this, and I really like it. Well, the other thing I like about this is that if you've shot a regular Hellcat Well, you already know what this trigger feels like because they haven't changed anything. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's exactly the same. If I take any one of my original Hellcats here, if you watch, same thing. Take up, got a bit of pressure, and then there's your reset. Same place, back, reset. So the trigger on this Hellcat Pro feels identical to the Hellcat trigger that I'm already used to, which is nice because since we have a little bit bigger frame, a little bit longer slide in barrel, that's going to tend to be a little less flippy, okay, a little less recoil. So my ability to put better shots on paper immediately, you can instantly feel it going from the regular Hellcat to the Hellcat Pro. And of course, the feel of the gun, we already talked about how this is a longer frame and it feels bigger. You can definitely tell when you grab it. Like when I grab this and wrap my hand around the gun, I definitely feel like I've got more hand than I need for the firearm. But when I grab the Pro, it's got more real estate, and so my grip is really, really good. I mean, I was happy with the original Hellcat, but the amount of real estate I've got on the Hellcat Pro is so much better that my grip feels amazing compared to the other one. Well, of course, the better I can grip and hold this firearm securely, the better my shots are going to be. So right away, this is a handgun you can pick up and immediately start making good groups. I think, if you're not a real experienced shooter, we've had a lot of people at the range pick up this handgun as one of their first time handguns and can do a really good job right away. It's like picking up any really well-made handgun. So if you've been thinking about this handgun, it would probably be a good idea to come check it out. I was really surprised at how nice this thing is. And like I say, the increase in size makes its characteristic at the range really, really nice to deal with. So what's it like to carry the Hellcat Pro as a carry gun? Well, interestingly enough, in the beginning, I made some size comparisons, and one of the things I compared it to was the 43X. And I didn't make this comparison because I think that these guns are the same per se. When I do these comparisons, it's more about, hey, are they close, approximate size, weight? So in the holster, how are they going to feel? How much gun do I have to carry either on my waist or in my pocket, etc.? And this is a gun I've carried a lot, and I thought that, this might be good to bring up some of our holstering options. Now, the 43X, I have carried this gun an awful lot in something as simple as a sticky holster. Now I've got some other holsters for this as well. Crossbreed, Super Tuck, leather, and Kydex. And I do have a Alien cloak tuck for this. So I've got some larger, holsters that have some hard retention and all that. But this pistol is small enough and light enough. When they are small enough, there's a category of pistols that I don't mind carrying in something like this, either in the pocket or in the waistband. And so I thought that I would give that a shot with the Hellcat. And I was really pleasantly surprised at how easy this thing carries in something like a sticky. And the really amazing part is I've carried Glock 19 more times than I can tell you in the waistband with a sticky holster. I've carried it in the waistband in a crossbreed Super Tuck. I've carried it in regular Galco leather. I've carried it in a Safariland holster. There's many different options I've carried this, but the Hellcat Pro is so much lighter. With the same capacity, it is so much lighter and so much thinner that in the waistband it doesn't move around a lot. So if I wanted to use something like this, I'm totally comfortable doing so. So I spent plenty of time carrying this thing around, and because it's so slim and light, it was a joy. So no matter how you like to carry a firearm, if you've been trying to figure out a way to get increased capacity, because for some people, capacity is everything. I have mixed feelings about that. I do like small firearms with high capacity, but I try to keep the weight down too. So I'll carry everything from something like this to a P365. I'll even carry a 5-shot revolver. It just depends on how I'm dressed. I want to make sure I've got the most comfortable thing for how I am currently dressed, so I make sure I do carry something. But for most days, dressing normally, I could very easily carry something like this, and I think most people could too. It's really nice to carry. So overall impressions of the Hellcat Pro by Springfield Armory. Well, when the Hellcat came out originally, it's like anything that's brand new. I'm like, I'm going to give it some time and see what happens. But it wasn't long before I thought, you know what, they've really got something going here. And so I went out and got a couple, and I've been really happy with them. Well, when the Hellcat Pro was announced, I was actually excited to get this one, just because the simplicity of it. They didn't go for a lot of craziness with this firearm. They basically, what's the minimum size we can make to hold 15 rounds, and still have a decent grip. And that's kind of what they've achieved here. They've made this just big enough to effectively hold that 15-round magazine. You don't have a whole lot of room outside of that. But it's a comfortable platform. There's natural spaces for your hand. It's equipped well. It's got nice sights, optics ready, has a good trigger, and it's a very user-friendly firearm at the range, and those are all things that are great. Now, one thing we talked about in the beginning was sort of challenging Springfield's notion that the Hellcat Pro doesn't have any equal. Now, the reason I brought that up again is because I want to come back to the Glock 43X, and this is just something to think about. The Glock 43X and the Hellcat Pro, they're both really slim. You can see that these two have a lot of similarities. The Pro's just slightly longer, but look how thin they both are. Okay, and of course there's trade-offs here, because this 43X here, this particular model of course isn't optics ready. You can go for that type of thing, but just looking at the basics here, they've got a very similar profile overall. And of course the only downside is that our 43X here has got single stack 10-round magazines. Well, the other thing to think about as well, you do have some options for this. Now, I wish that Glock had their own magazines, but Shield Arms actually makes 15-round magazines for the Glock 43X, the 43, and the 48. So, if you have a flush-fitting 15-round magazine for the Glock 43X, well, that makes these equal capacity and a very close, size comparison. Does that mean the Glock is the same, or does it make it better? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is it's something to think about. I've had mixed feelings about the Shield Arms magazines. Some are good. I think that they went through a period of time there where you couldn't even hardly get them. Their availability seems to be good right now, so if you've been thinking about getting one of those, you can probably do it. But I think that the feel of the Glock is really nice. It's very thin and slim. The Hellcat Pro is very slim, very, very nice. I actually like the texture on the Hellcat a lot better than the dot texture, on the Glock, which isn't a big deal because they both provide more than adequate grip. They both come with, I think, very good sight options. You've got the high visibility Ameriglow. Of course, the Glock has a tritium rear sight that you don't have on the Hellcat. Now, of course, these are different options because you can get the 43X configured in different ways, just like you can get most handguns configured in a number of ways. But just something to think about. If you use a extended magazine in the 43X, you can get the capacity up there similar to the Hellcat Pro. So I think that if you like the Hellcat, if you think it's a good platform to start with and you're interested in a higher capacity, I think you should absolutely take a look at this because it's a really good handgun. It comes pretty well equipped, I think. It's very comfortable and it's very easy to shoot. So I don't have anything really bad I can say about it, and I think that as time goes on, I think we can expect to see this develop further. But I was really impressed by the fact that they were able to get 15 round capacity in such a small package, especially when I'm used to 15 rounds looking more like this, and had for a long time. So I think it was a job well done. All right, well, that is going to do it for today. As always, we really appreciate you watching. Be back very soon with another video for you. So until that time, everyone stay safe and have a great day. Thank you so much.